You're listening to the Health by Port podcast. I'm your host, Jake Portalise. Today's guest is someone who is a hardworking individual and a truly inspiring person. He is a certified personal trainer, certified weightlifting and kettlebell coach, and a group fitness instructor. I am happy to introduce Yuri Panzhin.
What's up, Jacob? Thank you for this wonderful introduction. Happy to be on the podcast, man. Let's get it.
Hey, man, I'm happy to have you here. I'm just first, beyond blessed that you took your time out of your day to be on my podcast. You're actually my first guest on the podcast here, so congratulations.
Thank you, man. First of very many, my friend. I love what you're doing with your videos and spreading knowledge and, educating people on exercising. So, a lot more to come for you, my friend.
Thank you, man. Hey, same to you. I appreciate that. It's funny because I was trying to think of the first time we came across each other. I don't know if you can help me with this. I'm trying to think, was it YouTube or Instagram that we found each other?
I think it was YouTube. I think we both were starting around the same time, and we both were trying to make fitness related videos. And I don't know how. I think you commented or I commented, and then we just started interacting from that point.
Yeah, it might have been through some other video, like a Gary Vee video or something.
Could be.
We found each other.
Could be.
That's awesome. But first, Yuri, if you want to, tell everyone out there about yourself, your journey thus far in this fitness and health industry.
Most definitely. So I was born in the Soviet Union, actually. I moved to United States in about 20 years ago. But growing up in Soviet Union, I was always in sports. My favorite sport to play was soccer. So I was always out playing soccer with my friends. So from the early age, I was active and athletic. Learned swim when I was 7 or 6. And also transitioned playing basketball in high school. So, I've been in sports all my life, and I really loved team sports. So this is my background. This is, that competition aspect, that self-expression concept through sports and through athletics, always been in my life. So that was my foundation, And then when I was a teenager, I started doing exercises at home. They were calisthenics in nature. So push-ups mostly. I was doing some crunches, things like that, before I start utilizing actual weights in my training. And so little by little, I was just kind of start getting exposed to different modalities of training and learning about fitness and learning about body. And then when I came to United States and when I actually attended college in 2007, I came across campus recreation program, basically just a fitness facility where students can go and exercise and do group fitness classes and things of that nature. And I applied to work in the weight room. I was just a regular weight room aide for the Department of Recreational Sports there. And basically, that just started my career in fitness. And for the next 13 years, I was in that field in campus recreation and went through, from working in the weight room in an entry-level position to multiple steps to eventually be professional and work in different capacities, first as a coordinator, managing facilities, and then as an assistant director, running programs, special events, and such. So it's been a blessing. It's been an incredible journey. Learn a lot from many different perspectives, not just in terms of exercise, also in terms of managing people, in terms of leadership and things of that nature, in terms of, how to run classes and how to be an instructor and how to prepare for special events. So it's truly been a blessing in my life, being involved in fitness and wellness field. And I couldn't be more grateful, man.
Wow, that's amazing, man. I can tell you have a very, diverse background with all the stuff you have done. That's incredible. And you said the weightlifting that you got into, was that how you got your certified weightlifting and kettlebell coach?
It was one thing led to another type of thing. So when I came to University of Florida, my undergraduate institution, I, was exposed to personal training. and I always would see personal trainers walk around with clients at the gym, and they would give them instruction and they would coach them. And I got really curious about that. So I was like, man, I wonder if I could do that too. How cool would that be? So I applied to be a personal trainer and went through the course there. They had a really good program there, still do, to where you can go and complete a personal training course and become a personal trainer and actually train within the department, so everything done in-house. So I was exposed to all of that. And I can tell you that individuals that were part of my cohort at the time, they were some of the most talented, some of the most smartest people that I came across. I was just amazed how, most of them were 18 to 22. Some of them were a little bit older. There were a couple individuals who were actually in their 30s or whatnot, but most of them were young people, and they were extremely bright. So I was around, in that environment, kind of like, and that was feeding me, so it's true that they say when you around something or someone, it's going to influence you. So I was influenced by them heavily. And so around that time, I started practicing and starting kind of like putting myself in different situations in terms of training, right? And that's when I started trying weightlifting. I started really getting into kettlebells a little bit more and just trying different things, basically, learning about different things. And, kettlebell was a special modality of training because it's actually a Russian tool, so we can get into it a little bit later if you want, but it's a Russian tool. So I was curious about it from the beginning because obviously that's kind of like my motherland. That's where I'm coming from, right? And so I wanted to find out more about it. So, but weightlifting, I was kind of like, seeing it. I haven't tried it. I think my exposure with weightlifting really started like, if we're talking about, I guess I got to separate like the weightlifting I've been doing, the just lifting weights. Let's put it that way. I've been doing that since like, more or less 2000, maybe a little bit before, right? On and off. But if we're talking about Olympic lifting, clean and jerk and snatch, that's something that I got into more like around 2015, really kind of like seriously, but I was exposed to it like starting about 10 years ago and so, but I was doing it on and off, So just been trying and doing different modalities of training and, resistance wise, going to YMCA actually, that's what started it. I when I came to US, I was going to YMCA and doing a bunch of different exercises and learning how to lift essentially. I know it's a long-winded answer to your question, but
not at all.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's very powerful, especially how you mentioned earlier about being involved around people, because when you have groups and you have other people to inspire you and push you, that opens up so many avenues and different pathways for you to learn. And I definitely see that, especially that you have that enthusiasm, you have that passion with the current videos that you put out on your live, which I tried one of them and man, they kick my butt. For anyone who doesn't know out there, Yuri does these live workout videos on his Instagram page. What is it, every 6 p.m. Almost every day now?
Yeah, right now I've been doing it around 7 p.m. So Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. On Instagram and on Facebook, actually, you can log in and you can work out with me for about 45 minutes. And, it's been really fun. On Thursdays, actually, in the last few weeks, I've been doing Zoom sessions. So I got my group of individuals that's been doing it with me since March and April, and we just jump in on Zoom and we do it. And man, it's been a blast, man. It's been so much fun. I mean, I love it, man. I love it.
It's funny. When I joined one of them, I didn't expect to like. Well, it's crazy. You had these unique tools that you're using. You had ironing boards, pots, books. How did you grab the inspiration to find these unique tools? Because I never even I had to run and grab 2 books real quick, and we were doing like some external rotation at the top of the shoulders. And I'm like, this is really cool. Like, how did you think of these ideas to use these type of tools?
Yeah, Corona. That's the word. So when we were in quarantine, in March and April, I was really was thinking to myself, I mean, what sort of things could I use as resistance, you know, to kind of like break the monotony, if you will, of working out, you know. And I just started trying things, you know. First, I tried a cooking pot. I was like, okay, I have this empty cooking pot. I have two handles. I can actually grab it. I mean, it's not super heavy, but what if I can create positions and angles with this thing that will make it heavy, right? And so I started trying different things. And to my surprise, I was like, it was a great workout with just, you know, with just the cooking pot. So that also one of those things, you know, to where it makes me think outside of the box as a trainer. And I love that because, you know, the brain, you know, you need, just like your body, your brain needs stimulation. So I felt like, you know, coming up with these different ideas and trying those different ideas was really stimulating my brain, stimulating my body. And quite frankly, it was just fun, man. You know, it was just fun. So it was a win-win situation.
Yeah, that's really strong. Yeah, and I can see that you're strong with functional training as well. Could you tell us a little bit about, you know, why this is important and why this matters?
Yeah, you know, functional training is just one of those things. It's a very common term that's been thrown around, you know. But to
Mm-hmm.
me, like if we were about to define functional training, what it is exactly, simply put, it is a training that involves multiple muscle groups of the body, multiple joints of the body. So to me, it just makes sense because when we live in real life, right? When we walk, when we squat, when we open the door, when we reach down for something, we're essentially doing functional training. We're doing functional training every day of our lives without even realizing. So all it is, what I'm trying to do in my sessions and in my exercises, you know, it is to create exercises that allow body to be prepared for demands of a daily life, you know, really simple. So, you know, if you like, it's really basic, to be honest. Like if you train how to walk properly, right? Let's say you're doing a brisk walk, right? You're not just walking. You like, it's kind of like a very quick walk, something between actual jog and walk, right? So if you like really train how to brisk walk very well, that's going to help you with brisk walk, but it's also going to help you with transition to jogging or running, right? If you train how to bend over and grab object from the ground very good, like with a very good form, activating the right muscle groups, moving the right joints, it's going to help you with being proficient with the movement, but also to prevent injury and to be most efficient with this particular movement pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the way I see it is just these things, they applicable, they matter in real life. And to me, it's so cool that you can actually input something, movements and little tidbits into your training in order to benefit you in your real life, you know, day to day without even realizing. So uh, that's the reason.
And that's why I wanted to ask that, because I feel like, especially with the term of keeping your body, you know, moving every day. I just created a video on my Instagram a couple days ago about longevity when working out. You know, I feel like it's so overlooked that, you know, we're sitting every single day. We're just sitting down. We sit at our desk at our job. We sit at a couch. We just, everything we're doing, we're sitting when we eat. Obviously, sit when you eat, but we're always sitting. So to teach people the benefits of functional training, how to actually properly move your body, why this is helping you, why this is going to last for a longer life in the long run, is so important. I'm so happy that you're doing that.
Well, that's exactly it, Jake. It's longevity, you know, and that's something that people don't talk about. I think performance right now is the king. You know, when you go on Instagram and on internet in general, YouTube, you see all these people who look great, who are doing these amazing things, you know, like people are attracted to obviously individuals in great shape. They're attracted to someone who can do abnormal things, you know, for the lack of the better word, something that other people can do, you know. So there's a lot of hype around these things, right? There's not a lot of hype around longevity. Like I don't know about you. I don't see that, like that being a widely discussed subject on the internet, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
how to make sure that you can prevent injury? How can you make sure that you move correctly? Yes, there is a market out there for it, but I feel like it's much, much smaller. It's tiny compared to the market of bodybuilding, of how to look good, how to lose weight, the performance market, right? And to me, like, what is the goal? That's my question. I mean, is the goal to just well, it's funny actually. It's funny that we even talk about it because it's kind of a segue. It's kind of a segue into like a broader conversation, if you will. Like people would come to me to do personal training with me in the past, and they would say like, I need to lose that amount of weight within 6 months. Like I have to. I have a wedding or I have something going on in my life that I need to be at that point in 6 months. And like the first question was, well, how long did it take you to gain all this weight? And they were like dumbfounded by that question. Like, what do you mean? Like, well, I don't know how many years, but yeah. So it's like, you tell me that it took you maybe 2 or 3 years to gain this weight, but you want to lose it in 6 months, right? So that's already a red flag right there. Secondly, what's going to happen after 6 months? Is the world going to end after 6 months? You tell me that if your goal is to lose 20 pounds in 6 months and you lose 7 pounds in 6 months, that you failed? Is that what you're telling me? So things just, like it doesn't quite make sense because like people don't look at longevity. They don't look at it. Okay. If I lost 7 months within this 6 month, 7 pounds within the 6 month, that means that I'm actually progressing, in terms of long-term goal. Like I'm doing good. I'm on a right trajectory, right? They just look at it black or white. A lot of people like, oh shoot, like I did not lose 20 pounds, like I'm done. And they just either stop or they just become disappointed. Like this is like, what's going to happen? You're going to continue to leave, right? Because if you keep doing it in another 6 months, maybe another 4 months, you'll be at your goal or maybe close to accomplishing your goal. So to me, that's such a fascinating subject to begin with. Like people are impatient. People, people I think also not always know how body works, that they want quick results. I don't think it's necessarily always about instant gratification. I think there's definitely a lot of it out there, but I think some people honestly just don't fully understand that it takes time. Physiologically speaking, it takes time for body to adjust to these demands that we place on it. And obviously you and I know that physiologically speaking, exercise is only one small part. You have to eat well, you have to sleep well, you have to be mentally sound. I mean, there's so many different puzzles to this, right? Puzzle pieces. So longevity is a huge piece that I think it's hugely underrated right now.
Definitely. And that's the hard thing. It's like changing everyone's mind from the past. Cause I feel like in the past we've had these bodybuilders that like, oh, you can get this physique like this, you can do this, but that's not how it is. It's all about putting in the putting in the work, putting in the effort to get where you want to get and not giving up when you see that you're not making results. That's the true test, the testimony. It's like, okay, you're not seeing results in a month. Well, go again, go another month. Maybe you'll see a little bit, and it's all about little bit of changing. So, Yuri, how would you as a personal trainer motivate those people that are asking you, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing a change in my body, my physique. Well, I'm about to give up. What do I do?
Well, I mean, there are many different ways to do it, Jake, as far as how motivating clients. I think first it's understanding that individual person. In all honesty, I think this is one of the best things that anyone can do. So if you're listening and you are trying to lose weight or, gain muscle mass or run 5K in a certain time frame, first of all, understand how you work, right? So take time with yourself as a biological entity, if you will. I know it's like sounds complicated right now, but you have to understand what drives you individually, how you go about your business, what's going to ensure that you will stick to the program. Do you like to be acknowledged after you get little results? Do you like just hard-nosed workouts and reevaluate your results every so often? What kind of system would work for you? You have to establish that first, so knowing yourself, the challenge to working with clients is to it's not the physical even part, it's the mental part. It's understanding what drives anyone. It's understanding what would make them come back again and try again, right? Because ultimately it's about trying again. Ultimately it's about consistency. You know, if I stop working out today and just say forget it, you know, in a month or two I'm not going to be able to do as many push-ups or squats as I'm doing right now. Your body is malleable, right? And that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter who you are. So consistency is the game, and understanding, first of all, what drives you and what can you do to ensure that you will come back and try again and continue to work is really one of the most important things, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely consistency is very, very important. If you want to talk about, going back to that longevity aspect, could make a segue into the kettlebell, because I mean the kettlebell that's such a functional type movement. I personally have not really used that much kettlebells in the past. I've done it a couple of times. I used to do CrossFit when I was a lot younger, and kettlebells was such a big tool that we would use to do all the workouts. But can you tell us a little bit about like kettlebells and how they work for longevity aspect or just for functional type moving?
Sure. Kettlebells are one of my favorite tools by far to utilize. And for those who never heard of it or who never seen it, it's basically like a little ball, a heavy ball with a handle attached to it, right? So imagine, like a cannonballs, right? That they shoot out of those things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this, and then you
Is.
have a handle, right? And then you can hold it, so you can hold the cannonball essentially. So you're training with a cannonball with handle. So the reason I like it so much is because of its versatility, right? So you can actually start with very simple movements. You can simply just pick it up from the ground and do a deadlift with it, with both hands, right? And teach yourself how to load your hip flexors, not hip flexors, your pelvis, your glutes, your hamstrings, your low back properly, how to move your body properly first. So you can really start with those steps, more foundational steps, if you will, and teach yourself proper movement patterns. Then you can transition into strength training. You can start placing kettlebell on your, near your shoulder, holding it. You can carry it, like a suitcase, really training your core, preventing from bending on one side. You can actually do side bends as well, training your low back muscles, core muscles essentially, right? So you can start with all these different things to really get to a point where you feel confident and strong in being able to sustain that weight first. And then you can transition into these amazing exercises such as swings, snatches, cleans. It's when you literally transitioning the weight of the kettlebell in a more powerful, explosive ways to different positions in your body, right? And so what's really cool about this is that when you're doing a swing, for example, so swing is when you bring in the kettlebell in between your legs, you allow kettlebell to swing in between your legs, then you're thrusting your hips forward, allowing kettlebell to come in front of you, so swinging in front of you, but you're doing it by means of your hips, not by means of your shoulders. That's one common mistake that I see, that people actually trying to muscle it up with the shoulder. That's not the point at all. The shoulder is not really hardly doing any work. You just holding the bell, and then you allow your hips to produce those explosive thrust movements in order to move kettlebell forward. So it's like, picture a pendulum, right? The pendulum just goes in and out, in and out. So this is the exact same thing that you want to do with a kettlebell. Your hips going in and then hips going out. And at the same rate, the kettlebell goes in and kettlebell goes out. So you're riding the momentum of a swing all the way through. And God, this is such an amazing modality of training. And the reasons being because, for one thing, you're doing both, Jake. You actually doing amazing cardiovascular training, so your heart is pumping. You're doing amazing resistance training because your muscles have to contract harder in order to be able to produce that movement, because there's additional load now in place. There's also amazing mobility training because you're moving your hips. You're moving your hips continuously And, you know, your hips have to have mobility in order to perform that movement. If there's a lack of mobility, you're going to be restricted, right? Then there's also this power component. So like triple extension, if you play any sports, your hips is a very, very key area of the body. This is where you produce the most power. That's why when you jump, you know, like you can, some people jump 20 inches, some people jump 35 inches, some people can jump, you know, 40 inches high, right? It comes from the hips, from the knees, and from your ankles, right? And so if your hip flexors are active, why I keep saying hip flexors? If your hip region, pelvis region is active, right? If it can produce great amount of power, then that can be transferable not only to real life activities of daily living, but it can be translated and transferred to athletic endeavors such as basketball, soccer, wrestling, baseball, and so on and so forth, running. So it's just a great tool. It's such a versatile tool for so many different reasons. I mean, if you want to lose weight, this could help, right? If you want to be more powerful, create more power, and know how to understand how to create power, this can help. If you want to gain muscle, this can still help. So there's just, the list goes on, man. It's so versatile. There are so many different benefits from using it. And another thing that I didn't mention is just the weight distribution. It's how, the reason why it's also different from other tools is like, if you hold a dumbbell, for example, if you can picture a dumbbell, right? The dumbbell center of gravity is going to be in your hand, more or less. It's going to be in your hand. Kettlebells, because of weight distribution, right? You have a like a bar that you're holding, right? And then at the end of the bar, you have the load, right? So everything is closer. Whereas kettlebell, you're holding the handle, and then the cannon itself is underneath. So you can no longer control the kettlebell the way that you can control dumbbell. But kettlebell is not about controlling it with your hand. It's about learning how to control it with the rest of your body. And that is the difference. That is where gravity comes in. This is where the level arms, different levels of level arm comes in, to where your load is now considerably further away from the working joint. And therefore, you not going to be able to just muscle it out with that particular muscle joint. What the example that I was giving about shoulder. If you're going to take 35-pound kettlebell and just going to try hold it with the handle, right, and just do front raise with your shoulder, well, good luck with that. You know. But if you're going to do a swing, you know, utilizing your hips, it's a whole different situation. You'll be able to produce power and move it, and that's going to teach you how to produce power against the object that is not controllable in the manner that we used to control objects, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that's a great answer. I've noticed that too. It's like the kettlebell really does work every aspect of your body, and you'll just feel that. Like, for example, lying on the ground, and you probably know this move, Yuri. You know, lying flat on the ground, and you put the kettlebell raising one arm up. I forget. I think it's called the
Turkish get up. Yeah.
Turkish, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then you gotta get up in a certain way, but it's all the weight's distributing at the top, so it's like you have to. It's all like functional movement like that, and it's tough, and it really puts your body in a different position like that rather than a dumbbell or something else would. So.
Oh yeah, big time. Turkish get up by far also one of those exercises. It's just it's top 5. It's definitely a top 5 exercise out there. And I mean, you just train, like if somebody gave you a present, right, with with $1 million, you know, that's how this exercise feels, because you just addressing so many different things at the same time. You're working on a shoulder stability, you're working on the core strength, you're working on coordination, you're working on resistance. I mean, the list goes on. It's wonderful, you know. And it is very challenging. It is very challenging for sure. So one thing that if anybody will attempt to do it, to make it manageable, one of the best thing that anyone can do is just break it down. Anytime that you take a movement that seems overwhelming, like if I did Turkish get up for the first time and I've never done it, that would be overwhelming for sure. So what you do, you just break it down. You start with just bringing the kettlebell up, in the lane. When you're laying on the back, you bring a kettlebell in front of you, you press it, right? And then maybe you're doing half of the sit-up, right? Once you feel comfortable with that, maybe you do, the entire sit-up, right? And then you build on it. And so when you start breaking it down and you're doing it with little parts like this, with quarter of the movement or even less, it's all of a sudden becomes manageable. And then you start feeling successful. And no one likes to feel unsuccessful. No one likes to feel like they cannot do something. So it's the matter of creating opportunities for ourselves, putting ourselves in the position to make ourselves feel successful. And we can do that by breaking any exercise down, not just Turkish get up, any exercise down.
That's a really good point, actually, to bring up for anyone who's just kind of starting lifting, or trying to getting the courage to just get out there in the gym or just do a workout in general. Just to break it down step by step. You can watch other people do it, or just kind of learn it yourself. And I think that's important. But Yuri, is there any other kind of equipment that, like the kettlebell, that you like or enjoy?
Yes. Barbell is a great tool. And, weightlifting, I'm a big proponent. When I say weightlifting, I mean clean and jerk and snatch. Those things are wonderful. But if you have a barbell in general, so if you have a barbell with the bumper plates specifically, right? I think if you have that and a kettlebell, I think you just set 100%, because with the barbell, you can start doing deadlifting, you can start doing squats, you can start doing shoulder presses, or bench press. So there's just these classic strength exercises that you can utilize. But what I really love as well is clean and jerk and snatch, those weightlifting. We call it weightlifting, which actually, it's kind of funny because I had a conversation with someone about it a while back, where the term kind of misleading, if you will, because when I say weightlifting, you just maybe majority who are not familiar would think like it's just lifting weights, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas powerlifting would seem like something that you would do powerfully, right? With the bar or any other tool. So whereas the sport of weightlifting is clean and jerk and snatch, so those two lifts that you see in Summer Olympic Games typically, right? And then powerlifting is your deadlift, bench press, and your squat, right? So that's that sport. Obviously, most people familiar with that. And so I really love weightlifting. And the reason I love it is because it's very dynamic. You can create a lot of power. You can still build strength. You can build stability. You can build mobility. And quite frankly, it exposes your weakest link. So if I'm doing a clean and jerk, for example, clean and jerk is a really good example. On the clean and jerk, I need to first deadlift the bar. Then I need to be able to stand up from a front squat position with the bar on my shoulders. Then I need to be able to get underneath the bar as I'm jerking. And then I need to come out from the jerk with the bar over my head, with my elbows locked and arms extended. And basically, if there is, like, let's say that you're not good at squats, right? If you currently don't have strong legs, you're not going to be able to do this. Like, you just not, like, this step, if you're great at deadlift, you might be able to get it off the ground, but you're not going to be able to stand up with the bar on your shoulders from a front squat position. So it humbles you, and it allows you to work on these aspects that you're not currently proficient or strong in. And I just think that that's something that a lot of other lifts, it's not so obvious with other lifts, With clean and
Mm-hmm.
jerk and with snatch, it's just obvious. And if your technique is not good, it's also not going to work. But if you lack in mobility or strength, it's just not going to work, and you're going to know about it, right? So it tells you right away, like, okay, these are the things that I need to practice, and that's where I need to get better in order to be able to execute it. But you just hit everything. Like basically, you're going from deadlifting to triple extension, right? To squatting, and then you end up with a pressing motion. I mean, it's like Christmas, man. It's like Christmas. I mean, you're talking like it's as good as it gets. It does. The only one thing it doesn't have, maybe it's rotation, you know. But even balance. I mean, you have to be balanced. Now, I know it's not a single leg balance or single arm balance type of situation, but you still have to have a very solid balance
Yeah.
in order for you to know how to, handle the bar and everything. So, I mean, like, this is big time. This is a big league, and like, I just think this is definitely top 5. Those two, both clean and jerk and snatch, top 5 exercises without a doubt.
Oh, definitely, man. And you know, it's funny because that kind of correlates to just technique in general. Because when I used to do snatches and everything, that's kind of where I learned most of my technique, how to do a snatch, how to do a deadlift properly. And what would you say to someone that kind of is starting out with technique? What are some just tips? I mean, is it good to just go right to kind of learning a deadlift? Would that kind of be a good correlation, a deadlift to every other aspect, or would you just kind of start out with a bicep curl for just technique?
Someone who's trying to learn how to do a deadlift, it also depends on their current level. I mean, if they've been lifting, but they just haven't done a deadlift, they probably have a solid base foundation to be able to do the lift. If it's someone who's never done the lift, period, might take a couple more steps, to feel comfortable. But anyone can learn it. It's a matter of patience. So, in matter of, it's also a matter of priority. So my priority has always been safety and proper execution. So I also want to make sure, that's why I said earlier, it's understanding what are you after, because, if I'm talking about longevity and safety with someone who doesn't care about those things, then, why are we having this conversation, right? So I think the first question should be asked, like, what is your priority? Is your priority performance only? And if that's the case, so there's different levels to it. That's what I'm trying to say. But in general, taking a barbell and understanding how to simply lifting barbell from the ground to your pelvis, to your hips, right? You're just doing a different just a regular deadlift, and again, being able to break it down and execute it very well first. So with these complicated exercises, when I say complicated, is because they're not really complicated per se when you start doing them, but they probably, complex is a better word. Complex because it's just so many things happening at the same time, right? So on the clean and jerk, I mean, you have to do it fast, and you have to the triple extension movement. The transition between deadlifting to front squat has to be automatic, right? It has to be, like, if you're going to do clean and you cannot deadlift, it's not going to happen. If you don't know how to place the bar on your shoulders, it's not going to happen. If you don't know how to do front squat, it's not going to happen, right? So that the idea is to have the knowledge necessary and physical ability to be able to do it, right? But the good news is that, one step at a time. If you know how to do deadlift, then you know how to do front squat. Then you start practicing the transition between a deadlift and a front squat, right? You just start working at it one step at a time, and then you put it all together. If you have patience, and if you're willing to learn, and you're willing to take your time to understand these things, you will be successful, So for me personally, the way I've always approached it is, how can I do it safely? How can I do it effectively? And how can I put it all together, right? I want to have the knowledge. I just don't want to do the lift for the sake of doing it. I want to understand how to do the lift. I want to understand it
Mm.
to the point to where I can teach it to someone, right? And to me, I mean, for me, it's because I'm a learner by nature, and I'm passionate about it, and I'm a trainer. So if you can teach someone soundly how to do a lift, like if you feel so confident about it, the chances are you got really, really good at it, or at least like you have a very good, solid foundation of at least certain aspects of it to where you can teach it, right? So yeah, man, taking it, breaking it down, being patient with it, um, making videos of yourself, do
Mm.
self-check, if you know what the form is, do the self-check. Like, it's one thing that is at our disposals. Like, we have phones, everyone has phones, make a video of yourself from the front, from the side, see what the form looks like. If the form doesn't look like it's supposed to, come back to a drawing board, keep trying. Understand what the limiting factor is. Is there a limiting factor, or are you just maybe not keeping the bar close enough to your body? Maybe it's just a very small technical flaw that could be easily corrected, right? So like, doing this self-inspection on yourself, seeing what actually happening, what's going on, helps a lot. You can be your own coach, your own trainer in a way, right? If you know what to look for, you can do the self-evaluation, and then from that point, making corrections and evaluating again, and you'll be amazed at what you can do.
That's so true. It's I noticed it too when I'm trying to like learn something specifically. I'll just set up my phone and just get every angle possible just to see it. I mean, our phones are such a useful tool just to understand our technique that we're doing. And you were mentioning about understanding what you're doing in the gym. I've grown to love that a lot more now. When I go into the gym, I don't just in the past I would just lift weights to lift weights. I just toss them around, and I didn't really understand what I was doing. But now, in a more of a biomechanical sense, I'll go into the gym and I'll understand, oh, this is why I do this for my body. This is why I do this. So, it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, so Yuri, where do draw your inspirations from? Because we see that, I can see it too. I love your enthusiasm around fitness and health, and your dedication to these live workouts and your positive attitude, just nonstop every single day. The inspiration on your inspirational quotes on your page, etc. Where do you draw your inspiration from?
Oh man, I love it, man. The inspiration comes from love.
Mm. Yeah.
When you love something, it comes natural, my friend. So
Mm.
I it's I just thought about it the other day, man. Fitness has always been true to me, man. Anytime I've been true to it, anytime that I exercise, I felt better. I've gotten results. I've made friends through fitness. I've made lifetime memories through fitness. Movement comes from a variety of ways. I don't look at it as exercise. To
Mm.
me, it's a lifestyle. Like, if I'm going to go right now to a music festival and dance, I love to dance. I love to move, right? Movement is exercise. I don't compartmentalize. I can't pronounce that word. I don't put it in little buckets, right? I don't put it in little buckets. I don't say like, okay, lifting weights, that's one thing, but doing a hip hop class is another thing. It's all movement. It's just different type of movement. One movement is with the kettlebell or with the dumbbell. Another movement is stepping side to side. I love to move. I've always loved to move. I love when your body goes through these different challenges, and sometimes it's a challenge, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's grueling, right? It's a hustle. There's all these different levels to it, and I love every single level, man. I honestly do. I love the feeling of deadlifting a loaded bar, because it's a resistance and that works your body, challenge your body in a different way. But I also love to go for a swim. Like, I haven't swim necessarily in a long time, so maybe not a great example. Maybe a bike ride would be a better example. Like, just sitting on the bike and just riding. I'm actually planning to do it today. So like, it's all just movement to me, man, and I love all of it. All of it has different application, you know. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's about recovery, right? Like riding a bike, right? Today is going to be more relaxing workout. It's just going to be like riding a bike by the lake and enjoying. But I'm still going to be exerting, you know? I'm still going to be working my legs. My heart rate's going to increase, all of those. I'm still going to be getting those benefits. So, like, you know, to me, it's just you can utilize it to your benefit, right? Like the reason I mentioned dancing is because like it's legitimately make me happy. It makes me happy. Like in those hormonal changes also, you know, makes a huge difference. It's not just about physical manifestations, right? It's not only about that. It's about what's going on inside. Are you happy with this particular activity? So to me, it's just this whole world is this ocean of possibilities when it comes to movement, and I love all of it. I absolutely love to figure out like what drives people, what people love to do, because ultimately, if I can help someone to identify what they love to do in terms of movement, they will be fit for the rest of their life, man. You know, and that's what it comes down to. And to me, it's not about any one modality of training. To me, it's identifying what some of the things that could be done that you could do consistently as a person, that will challenge you, but also will make you motivated, right? Keep you motivated, and ultimately allow you to get some results from it, you know? And I think it's powerful, man.
That's really yeah, no, that I love that. I love that you just defined, you know, the love just around fitness. It's everything. It's everything. You know, you can have going like for me, I love going out in nature. It's just about taking care and the love, the lifelong process and journey of caring and loving for your health and physical fitness wise. So that's important. And I feel like that also ties in with self-improvement. And I know that's one of your big topics. You know, your main areas of focus is the pursuit of self-improvement. You know, what are some ways that you practice self-improvement?
Yeah, I think it's huge topic because a lot of it is a mental game. You know, you can even argue that majority of it is a mental game because, you know, you're making decision first about anything, you know. If you
Mm,
if you're gonna go and, you know, do a mile run right now, Jake, you have to consciously decide that, right? It's not just going to be on the limp. It's not just going to be like your body just all of a sudden is going to go and run. You're going to conceive that idea in your brain. You know, you're going to make a sense out of it. You know, subconsciously or consciously, you will most likely consciously, you'll be like, hey, you know, I think it'll be good to run right now. You know, it's going to be good for whatever reasons you're going to come up with, right? So then you're going to go run, but it starts in your mind. The idea is being developed in your mind. And so if we can develop a disciplined mind, then things just start happening, man. It's just
mm.
as important or even more important to train the mind. So, you know, I'm building, like in my own personal brand, I've been kind of like slowly building. Brand is kind of a funny word, but I don't know what else to call it. Like I don't have a business, I don't have a company right now, so brand, I guess, is appropriate word because when I say brand or when I hear brand, it's almost has that connotation like, you know, I'm trying to build something to get something in return, and it's not necessarily the true. I love the idea of bringing people under this umbrella.
Mm.
I have this slogan right now, you know, aim the mind, move the body, uplift the spirit. And so
I love that.
it starts with aiming the mind, right? It starts with like what it is that I want to do, asking yourself, right? What would it take for me to do something, right? What drives me to do something? And at the end of the day, it's about action. It's about taking action. So to me, I just found that having this foundation, the sound foundation with right thoughts, with right mindset, with right rationale for doing things, it just helps me. It gives me more of a purpose. It gives me that feeling of comfort knowing that I'm doing something for the right reasons. And those reasons are my reasons. I think that's important to understand. It's not the reasons, like, this is not something like, working out is the right thing to do because, it's going to make you feel better. Like, sure, that's good, but who gives a damn? Maybe a lot of people don't care, right? So to me, it's like, what are your personal stake at that, right? That's the question. Like, why are you doing this? Why is Jake doing this? That is the question. Why is Joe doing this? Why is Molly doing this? Like, asking those questions, right? So to me, when you have a rationale for it, whether it's because you're trying to lose weight or because you really love to lift weights, specifically, maybe you're crazy about clean and jerk, right? Or weightlifting and you want to compete. Or maybe you absolutely would love to learn how to do a specific skill. So whatever that rationale is, finding yours, I think it just starts in your mind, right? So, like, we kind of went around that, but you conceive those ideas, you make him a priority, or you make him, a point of importance, and you can develop a plan. You basically kind of more or less can create a path for yourself before you even execute a physical aspect of it. You can create a plan internally first, conceive it in your mind. So I think it's a very, to me, it's just been working well. To me now, I know, like, hey, they're doing, getting together with these individuals who benefit from these workouts. It drives me. It helps me, obviously, physically, but there's also individuals on the other end now who's doing these workouts who actually benefit from it and whose health is actually affected, by those workouts as well. And it drives me big time, right? So what is your rationale? That,
That
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. And that's what I've grown more fond of. It's just learning about self improvement, learning about the mind and everything about it, and just how I can really take control of my own mind when situations seem to fall. And then what I've been thinking about a lot is when I make these videos, when I do these workouts, and I'm creating videos, the camera's right in front of my face. I think of that one person. I think of the one person that I'm going to change and whose life that I'm going to impact by speaking, by my voice. So the power of our mind is so incredible. And I feel like if we just take the time to kind of understand ourselves, understand our mind, then our body can connect. And then everything kind of, when you attack that workout in the gym, then you realize, no, I got this. I can do this. I can just flip that little switch in your brain to turn on, to step forward.
100%, my friend. 100%. It is a very powerful concept. And like you said, even if one person will consider, even if they're not necessarily going to do it right away, but if they consider some of this knowledge, right? It's about the journey. It's about mystery of life. It's about discovery, right? I'm not here to say that, like, look, this is the only way. No, this is just my thoughts. But hey, this is why I think this is good idea, right? Or why it's been successful for me, or like, we just exchanging knowledge, we exchanging ideas. And I just think there's so much, what should I say, well, there's so much information, for one thing, but also there's so much of people trying to make a quick buck, right? And unfortunately, like, a lot of people end up on the wrong side of it, right? So, like, finding individuals who truly care about spreading knowledge for the betterment of the planet, of the world, it's not always easy, right? Like, there's a lot of people who's trying to get quick buck out of it, right? So even if one person will consider this information, right, it's already a win, because that one person may try it eventually, and then they tell somebody else, and they will make, that will potentially change somebody else's life. So, I think it's a super powerful thing, man. It's a super powerful thing to be able to encourage other individuals to share knowledge and to work together, essentially, like, towards a better life, for the lack of the better word, like, mentally and physically speaking.
Hey, it really is. And it's a chain effect. It is. Once you impact that one person, they feed it on to others, and you have to know that, understand that you're making that impact, and then they're spreading awareness about just mental and physical health. And Yuri, I see that you're creating that inspire content every day to impact those other people, to impact lives, that one life to change everyone else. And I want to know, and I'm sure others do too, what is your next big project that you're currently working on?
The next big project that I want to get to, it just has to do with the video content. I started this series that I call Gains Master Plan, and I've made few videos about it so far, but I want to do more videos, and I want to really get back into blogging. I've been, to be honest with you, in the last month, like end of June and most of July, has been like personally challenging for me. I've been dealing with some like unprecedented health things that I'm actually going to talk about my blog, so I don't want to give it away, but definitely tune in, and you're going to see more on it. But so I've been kind of out of it, in the last month, in terms of like blogging and being present on YouTube to the extent that I would want to be because of that. But so definitely getting back into the swing of things in terms of this series, in terms of my blogs, in terms of thinking creatively what other content I can create for individuals. The blessing to me, Jake, the blessing is that I can sit on a couch one day and an idea pops into my head. How cool would it be to make a video about this or talk about this subject? And then I just grab a camera and do it. Like, to me, that is just like the best thing in the world, and anyone can do it, right? So if you have a phone and internet, there's literally no excuses. So, I'm looking forward to just getting back into the swing of things, creating more content, just drawing inspiration from, my own workouts, other people's workouts, some of the things that I see that people struggle with, and be able to create value. I also have a Facebook page that I actually call Burn It to Earn It. So it's Burn It, then number 2, Earn It.
2.
And then, so anyone who would like additional information, videos, please join the page. Would love to see you on there. It's like a little community at this point. Would love to grow it by all means. Have some really great individuals there, very open people. Great individuals from all different walks of life. Everyone is welcome. There is no, a particular criteria for people to join, as long as you're just nice and respectful to everybody else. So that's one channel, right? There's one opportunity to kind of exchange knowledge, to be part of the community. Another opportunity, obviously, those online workouts as well. And now I have a website too. It's actually gainsfinder.com. So GAINSfinder.com. There's, I started my blogging process on that website. There's live workouts that I've done up to this point on this website as well. So, a lot of information out there. I'm looking forward to continue this journey. The reason I brought up Burn It to Earn It page is because there's still some things. I did a poll like a month and a half or a couple months ago with the community from the Facebook group. And there's certainly some other videos that I need to get to that people wanted to see through that poll. So that's, certainly another, aspect of things that I can bring to that particular community. So there's tons of things, man. There's you're just limited. I am limited by my own creativity, and I have a lot of work to do, man.
Yeah, I got you, man. And that's the love about it. It's the love about building that community, like you said, building the love of just bringing everybody in. And you have the YouTube too. You want to link your YouTube as well?
Yeah. GainsFinder on YouTube as well. So majority of my social media channels would be under GainsFinder. So it's GAINS Finder. That's just the nickname that I came up with, and then I go by as far as my social media channels. So you can find me on YouTube under GainsFinder, on Instagram, on Twitter, TikTok is about to be banned, it looks like, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
yeah, like I just saw the news yesterday and today. It looks like the president is actually trying to ban the TikTok because of security issues.
Right.
But on TikTok for now, until it gets banned, it's also Gains Finder. Even on Snapchat, which I haven't been using that frequently, but even on Snapchat, I'm on, under Gains Finder. I also have a podcast as well. So the podcast also Gains Finder. So just about everything is Gains Finder. So on the Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, you can find me under Gains Finder. So as far as spelling it is Gains. There is no E. So just Gains.
Gains.
Yeah.
That's good though. You have the same name, so everyone can find you there.
Yeah.
Well, as we reach the end of our podcast here, I just want to know, what is one last message that you want to give to the viewers listening? A message that could leave an impact on others. What would you say?
Just move.
Just
move. Honestly, find something that you enjoy to do. There is a series that I've done also that's called 5 Things That Everyone Should Know About Exercise. And enjoyment was number 1. You can see the whole, I don't want to give it away too. If you're interested, you can see the whole thing on the website or on YouTube. But the first factor was enjoyment. And I think it's, again, one of those things that's highly underutilized today. Find something that you like to do. Depending on your goal, of course, like if your goal is to lift, 300 pounds on deadlift, yeah, you have to deadlift, of course, but hopefully that's something that makes you happy and really truly drives you. So you're still going to be in that same universe, if you will, right? You're still going to enjoy it. But if your goal is just to be, healthy and to be conditioned and, to be able to move well, then, the sky's the limit. You can certainly employ a variety of different types of training, but I think enjoyment is the key. You have to, in my opinion, you will be better off feeling fulfilled and feel enjoyment from any given activity. So, finding what you enjoy to do and simply doing that, moving your body and have fun with it.
Thank you. Yeah, enjoyment, finding that enjoyment, being happy while you work out, that's key. Yuri, thank you so much for coming out. I mean, I'm beyond blessed, like I said, having you out here, taking the time out of your own schedule to just be on here talking about some great topics we talked about today. Just you guys can find Yuri at Gains Finder. Thank you so much.
Hey, Jake, it's been a blast, man. I love, those type of interactions. I love talking with people about fitness and wellness. So I love what you're doing right now. I really appreciate individuals like yourself, just because, I feel like we're spreading a good message. We are genuinely trying to help individuals, to be better and to establish not only goals, but I would say just give them the tools, that will help them in the future. So to me, I think it's a very important thing as we transition into the future. And definitely support what you're doing. Love all your content and love the way you also educate individuals. I think you have a very good style of teaching and style of creating content and delivering content. So I'm looking forward to your journey as well, my friend. I hope we can connect on Instagram or maybe I can have you on my podcast in the future and we can continue these type of awesome conversations in the future.
Of course, man. No doubt about it. Thank you, Yuri, and thank you everyone for listening out there. I appreciate it. You guys have a great day. Peace, Yuri. Much love.
Take care, everyone. Be well.